was looking over UFC 246 and I figured, hey, let's make a video about it. And I'm going to try to make it really quick because I know y'all don't like listening to me talk too long. I try to talk slower. Fuck it, let's talk about fights. And I'm going to use my phone because I forget everybody's names here. First off, not an overwhelming card, let's be honest with that. Pardon me. I may have been up for like a day, so I've been drinking a lot of coffee and just worked out, so I'm kind of hoarse. We might cut that one out later, but probably not. First off, we have Anthony Pettis versus Carlos Diego Ferreira. Coming into this fight, I guess there are two ways to look at it. People keep looking at Anthony Pettis saying, hey, over his last X amount of fights, he's 1-1, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Well, let's take a second and look at that. He literally has stated that he's in the part of his career where he's only looking for challenging new fights. So think about those losses. He lost to Tony Ferguson. How did he lose to Tony Ferguson? He broke his hand and had to quit. Maybe you say, yeah, tough it out. I don't know. He wasn't really chasing the belt. He dropped Tony. Tony started doing somersaults. Only time I've ever seen that, but I loved it. So he loses that one. Next fight, goes up to 170 to fight Wonderboy. Said, hey, you know what? I'm sick of losing all that weight. Maybe a little bit thicker. Fill out. Wonderboy was winning that entire fight until, golly, the Showtime punch, whatever you want to call it. They call it a Superman punch. The way he described it was a kick punch. So he throws his kick and uses that momentum to throw a punch. Now, I'm not nearly athletic enough to do that. Been trying. Sure, my downstairs neighbor hates me. But it was just like, yeah, kick, hook, boom. Wonderboy just said, oh no, oh no. First time Wonderboy ever got knocked out. Pretty couple. My hair's getting all over the place. I need a haircut. But I'm a child. I just don't feel like going there and sitting down and taking all the time and driving. I'll just keep partying it over and over again. But yeah, but Carlos, I'm not sure to call him Carlos. Call him Diego. Is how I'm saying his last name because I think it has a little bit of spice to it. Overall, really good fighter. Golly, I'm forgetting the league he was just in. I'm having a blank, but he won the championship with that. He was undefeated in that league. He ended up vacating the belt in 2014 to come over to UFC. If I remember correctly, he started off 2-2, but he's been on a five win streak ever since then. One of those losses was the Diamond, Mr. Poirier, so that's gonna happen. I mean, most people that aren't named Khabib are losing that fight. Overall, I know Diego's a very, very well-rounded fighter. He came in and he was primarily jiu-jitsu. He would do that just like try to throw bombs and grapple. Well, now he has a very versatile attack. I know I saw a few brief clips of him, and then I was really struck as how it seemed like how well-balanced he was. He's throwing, it's all right here. Just punch, 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 head kick. But in this little square, he's not doing all these crazy things, which is what Showtime does. In order for Diego to win this fight, I mean, that's what you say with Showtime. You got to pressure him. You got to push him, and you got to make him uncomfortable. You got to not give him space to throw all those funny things that he likes to do, those spinning kicks. The numbers, the odds rather, they're in favor. Betting odds rather, they're in favor of Diego. They're making him the favorite. I'm not mad at that. It makes sense. He's won 5 in a row. He's a very well-rounded fighter. You don't really know what's happening with Showtime because Showtime's doing all these crazy fights. But I'm a homer. I think Showtime's going to bounce back, and he's going to win that fight. He's going to do something crazy. I think he's due. Maybe spinning, I don't know, head kick, something like that. Maybe bring the Showtime kick back. But yeah, while we're on the subject, I am a huge homer. Most of these are really just how I feel at the moment. But hey, I feel like that's not a bad strategy. I'm always really bad at putting my own opinion. Next up, we have Claudia Gadelha and Alexa Grasso. I did not know who either of these ladies were. Glad I do now. I followed both of them on Instagram because apparently they have a big following, and I'm a man of science. Yeah, science. Most of the places I've seen online, they have them pretty even in terms of a betting favorite. I've seen one place like they were both like negative 115. I'm not a betting man. I'm not quite sure how that works out. I've seen one where plus 100, minus 100. I'm gonna give the slight edge to Claudia just because experience. She's 17-4 compared to Alexis 11-3. and 2 of those losses Claudia had were to the Boogie Woman, Joanna. So I just think she has a little more time in there. Maybe she's a little bit better to find the answer. That being said, I really would not be super surprised either way on that fight. Next up, we have the heavyweight bout, Alexei Olenek versus Maurice Green, and there's a good chance I'm saying these names wrong. I've never really said them out loud. I've just been reading a lot about them and watching fights. Alexei, the boa constrictor, if I'm remembering his nickname there, and Maurice Green, the crochet king or crochet match, something like that. That's one of my favorite nicknames. Right up there with Eric, your boy, Anders. Yeah, I mean, Alexei, I'm looking at it right now, he has 71 pro fights. Oh my gosh, jeez. Maurice Green is 8-3. I really feel like a few years ago, Alexei's winning this fight. He does have that crazy jiu-jitsu. He's gotten 2 Ezekiel chokes in the UFC. He did the first one. He maybe had the only 2 ever. I know he had the first one, then he came back and did another one. He does not looking great. His last 2 fights, he got beat up by Al Overeem, and that's one of the big things about Alexei. When he comes in, it's not super high-level stuff to get you down. He's a big dude, comes in sort of like this. If you can, be there, meet him with the knee. I can't do it as high. I'm wearing black pants because I thought it'd help the lighting a little bit better, but they're not nearly as stretchy as my khakis. Kind of disappointed about that. Also, your boy's a little thicker than he used to be. Working out, not a big deal. But yeah, he comes down like that. He not only does so, he's going for a takedown, he's going like that. If he's throwing a punch, he's throwing those looping overhand stuff. And that's what Alistair did. He just stayed with him, knees, beat him up. I think it was a first-round knockout. If I remember correctly, he got knocked down in a hurry by Walt Harris, if I'm remembering that correctly. I think Maurice has him with this one. Maurice is just tall dude. He's like 6'7". Big, he's good at striking. I feel like just his height and I think he's going to be able to see those punches coming from Alexei. I think he's going to be good enough at standing up with him too. And if he just watches, the last 2 fights, okay, stand up, knees with him, hit him in the head, not super fancy. That being said, I did just watch his last fight, Maurice, where he got knocked out by Sergey, and what it looked like in that one, it looked like I think it was a straight right that just slipped through, and I think that first punch landed, I think that sort of messed with him. Because from there, he would just get hit in the head of the bunch. Golly, first round knockout, or he was knocked out the first round, rather. Up next, my girl Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington. I always have a huge crush on Holly Holm. I don't know why, just always have. I think I'd give Holly the edge here. Holly's footwork is just too good. I mean, what is she, like a 312-time boxing champion? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Raquel, very tough fighter as well. I think she just is going to be a step behind Holly Holm in this fight. I know she's been sort of accused sometimes of sort of watching and letting their opponents get started and then returning. I mean, don't get me wrong, the girl can take punch. She can dish it out too. I just think Holly just going to be like a step or 2 ahead for the whole fight. She's going to win that one by decision. I don't think Holly's going to have too rough of a night with her. Jeez. The main event. The notorious Conor McGregor versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Jeez. This is like the toughest fight breakdown call I've tried to make in a long time. I legitimately do not know. It's easy to say. I mean, well, first of all, let's start out right here. People be hating on my boy Cowboy. They're just looking over him. Just like, oh, Conor's gonna come by. He's gonna run right through him. Then what's next? He's gonna fight Masvidal. He's saying he wants to fight Usman. Bro, Cowboy is no slouch. None. Let's talk about the last few fights here. So, if I remember correctly here, years ago, Conor McGregor was an actual MMA fighter. He beat Aldo. Then he was gonna actually fight Dos Santos after that. That didn't work out, and then started all the couple Nate Diaz fights. And then I think he went to fight Floyd Mayweather. No, then he fought Eddie somewhere in there. And then he fought Floyd. And then long time, and then he loses to Khabib. So he hasn't legitimately won an MMA match in 3 years. Let's talk about Cowboy. Everybody keeps, well, his record's this, his record's that. Bro, he keeps going back and forth between 2 weight classes. Let's look at his last losses here. So he, if I remember correctly, he had like 3 wins in a row. If it was, I may be making this up. Mike Perry was in there, old Ally Kinto was there, and then that Alex, I don't really remember his name, the one that made so much fun of Cowboy, then just got beat up. Who did Cowboy lose to? I guess that's an important thing as well. He loses to Tony via doctor stoppage. Cowboy clearly won that first round. That being said, Tony clearly won the second round. There was 1 round left when Cowboy goes, and golly, gets cartoon character eye. Next fight, he gets knocked out by Gaethje in the first round. Happens to everybody. Gaethje literally knocks out everybody. There's a good video, Gaethje, A Symphony of Violence. Golly, that was dope. I didn't realize how monstrous that guy was. And then there's so many factors, is the ring rust Conor effect. What Cowboy are we going to get? They always say, Conor's a really good, really quick starter. He comes out there, finds that left. He's waiting for it. He's got all those weird angles and stuff like that. They say Cowboy's a slow starter. It's going to take him a couple rounds to really figure it out, get things figured out. If I remember correctly, I think Conor has like an inch reach advantage, but then they're shaped so differently because Conor's got those wide, long arms, like wide chest, long arms, so his back adds to it. Cowboy has more of a narrow frame, throws more of the straight punches, just right at you like that. Some people say that Conor's the more dynamic striker. Maybe. I mean, he has some really good knockouts. I mean, he was pinpoint actually. When he did that, when he knocked out Aldo, he was practicing that little step and that little left cross, whatever knocked him out there. That being said, Cowboy has like every record in the UFC. Well, it's just because he's not quite as technical, but he fights every fucking day. Yeah, that's right. He has fought and beat so many different people. The records, some raw fan, don't quote me on this, Conor's like 21-4. Cowboy's 36-13. Dude fights every other Tuesday. This fight could go any direction. So we'll give the striking to Conor. Well, do you give literally everything else to Cowboy? There's a good chance Cowboy's going to come in significantly larger. I mean, Conor's looking all jacked in that 170. How much does he really weigh? Is he walking in like 190? Is he like jack, dude? I've seen pictures of him. He looks bigger, but not like a giant to me. Cowboy's much taller fighter. He's over 6 feet tall. There's a good chance Cowboy's walking around like 190 for that fight, where Conor's at like 165, weighing in maybe exactly at 170 without cutting any weight. Oh, the betting odds, they have Conor as a favorite. From what I've seen, they're around Conor minus 325, Cowboy plus 250. There's some leeway in there, but Conor negative 300 plus, Cowboy plus 200 plus. Who do I think is going to win? I have no idea. I've been thinking about this fight since it was announced. It's at welterweight. Cowboy is a better welterweight if you look at all the records, etc. about that. But Conor McGregor has an X factor. Is he going to be better than he was? Is he going to be focused? Is he going to be able to use that strength to generate more power, or is it going to slow him down, hurt his cardio? I want Cowboy to win. You better believe I want Cowboy to win. I am a Cowboy homer. I really wish he could get like a lifetime achievement belt, something like that. I don't want to patronize the guy, but he's done everything but win a title. Shit. I don't know. You got me. But that is one thing I've really noticed a lot about this card. There are a lot of sort of just pick'ems in there. Who's gonna win? Showtime or Diego? Who's gonna win? Claudia or Alexa? Who's gonna win? Cowboy, Conor. I think the only one that's really clear is I think Holly Holm's gonna do work to Raquel. Not necessarily embarrass her, but just be like I said, be ahead of her. Other than that, I wouldn't be surprised if Alexi lands a takedown and gets Green in some weird choke. Maybe Green slacked him weird from that knockout. I don't know. I'm leaning towards him, but man, this Cowboy Conor fight. I guess why do the fights, huh? Or they give jackass like me something to talk about.